Good afternoon. Please stand as you are able while the flags are carried to the stage. You may be seated for the remainder of the procession of graduates. Good evening. I'm told we have another sold-out crowd tonight at Mariucci, so we would ask that you could move to the center of your aisles to make room for families and loved ones who are still arriving. Thank you so much. And then you may be seated if you're not already. At this time, we invite you to join us in the singing of Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Let's have a round of applause for our musicians and singers today. Good afternoon. I'm John Coleman. I am the Dean of the College of Liberal Arts, and it's my great pleasure to welcome parents and families, supporters and friends to this very special day, as well as our distinguished guest on the stage, Regent Darren Rocha. On a monumental occasion like this, I could think of only three words that matter, words that apply to every one of you, from American Indian Studies to theater arts, from communication studies to speech language hearing sciences, and every major in between. Three words that no one can dispute or misunderstand. Three words that sum up what today is all about after some very difficult years. Those words: you did it. Congratulations, class of 2022, and welcome to the first day of the rest of your lives. This is a great day for us all, and to start our program, we have a special guest. You won't find her name in your program, but you will find her name in the halls of power here in Minnesota and in Washington, D.C. Senator Amy Klobuchar. Elected in 2006, Amy Klobuchar is the senior U.S. Senator from the state of Minnesota. In the U.S. Senate, support for higher education has been one of Senator Klobuchar's highest priorities, including working on issues related to student debt and financial aid. It is my great honor to introduce our U.S. Senator, Amy Klobuchar.
Thank you, Dean. This is incredible. It is so great to see all of you in person. We had a beautiful day today, no tornadoes, right? No ice storms, you're here. As the Dean said, you did it. I want to thank the incredible faculty and staff. The success of the students is your success too. To all the family members joining us today, thank you. You guys all remembered to thank your mom, right? And your dad, and your brothers and sisters, and all of your grandma and grandpas, everyone that's here. You are going to be so proud of this moment and remember it forever. And to the class, congratulations. This is your day, and enjoy it. Now, you are getting your degrees from a first-class university. Think about your incredible fellow alums, heroes like Roy Wilkins, writers like Cheryl Strayed, and of course someone we lost last year who was my personal mentor, Vice President Walter Mondale. The University of Minnesota also has a special place in my family's history. My husband got his degree here. And so did my dad. We love the maroon and gold. We love the Gophers. And I think it is very fair to say that I would not be up here without the power of education, without this place. My grandpa worked 1,500 feet underground in the mines up in Ely, Minnesota. He had eight brothers and sisters. He was the oldest boy. His parents died young, and he never even got to graduate from high school. But he went down every day in that mine, and he raised those brothers and sisters, married my grandma, and then saved money in a coffee can in the basement to send my dad to college. He sent my dad to a 2-year community college, Ely Junior College up north, and from there my dad went to the big city. And he finished up his 4-year degree with a degree in journalism at the University, at the University of Minnesota. He went on to be a sports writer, newspaper columnist. He got to interview everyone from Ronald Reagan to Chicago Bears coach Mike Ditka, ask your parents, to Ginger Rogers. He wrote 23 books, including one, this is key, in 1977, still relevant today, sadly, entitled, "Will the Vikings Ever Win the Super Bowl?" True story. My mom was a teacher who taught 2nd grade until she was 70 years old. And I still meet people who were her students who are all grown up now, and they tell me how they learned everything from her about the monarch butterfly. U of M graduates, I stand before you today as the granddaughter of an iron ore miner who never got to finish high school, the daughter of a teacher and a newspaper man with a University of Minnesota degree, and the first woman elected to the United States Senate from the state of Minnesota. That is what education and opportunity and what your families have done for you, it's all about. You are graduating at an unparalleled moment in our nation's history. a global pandemic and its repercussions for our economy, enormous and sometimes good and sometimes soul-crunching technological changes, a reckoning on justice and democracy. You are graduating at a time when a war in Ukraine is demonstrating both the fragility and the resiliency of democracy in the 21st century. When people in a land so far away are showing us in vibrant blue, get the right side here, blue and yellow, showing us in vibrant blue and yellow what courage and conviction are about, as they stand up to the inhuman barbarism of Vladimir Putin. In America, we stand with democracy. We stand with Ukraine. So I saw all your degrees in liberal arts, an incredible array of degrees. And so you wonder, what does that have to do with what I just talked about? You understand with those degrees what freedom means. You understand what political and press freedom means. You understand what artistic freedom means, scientific freedom, economic freedom. And beating the odds, the people of Ukraine are harnessing the power of freedom and words and, yes, technology. Picture what the world has seen and how they brought them with us. The cello player playing the solo in the middle of a town square surrounded by bombed-out buildings. The Ukrainian soldier on the postage stamp that they designed standing up to the Russian warship. I won't say what he said. The symbol of the sunflowers. And when everyone counted them out, one man, their leader, President Zelensky, that's where I got this pen that I wear almost every single day to remember what he did. One man, their leader, stood in the streets and filmed a video for all to see. What did he say? He said simple 3 words: we are here. We are here. That matters in politics, it matters in life, it matters for your future. Through this whole pandemic, you did not give up. You said, we are here. That's how we keep our freedoms. At a lot of graduations, you hear people talk about how students are, I've said this myself, entering the real world. But let's be honest, class of 2022, you've been living in it. You have been living in it, and so have your families. And so many in this room, whether it is people who have lost a loved one and have an empty chair at the table, whether it is someone who got really sick, whether it's someone who lost their job, you have encountered enormous obstacles. But what did you do? You found a way to study. Whether it was in lectures halls, whether it was distant from people, whether it was in dorms rooms, yes, even in your childhood bedrooms. I think some parents know what I'm talking about. You learned how to use the mute button better than your professors and a whole lot better than a bunch of US senators. Together, with grit and determination, you got through it. And I bet many of you found, as I've learned in life, that the obstacles you encountered, yeah, they're obstacles, but they're also the path, because it showed what you could do, what you could muster, how you could get through things. The obstacles are your path to a generosity of spirit. The obstacles are your path to understanding different backgrounds and cultures and religions, and yes, different political views. To be able to talk to each other about different ideologies is so important to our nation right now, and that is something that you learned at this great university. Your path to understanding that to succeed, you stand your ground and you find common ground. Your path to lifelong friendships, your path to generate new ideas to change the world. No matter what, the path that you're about to embark on, it is yours. And you know that you are equipped with something truly valuable, a college degree from this great place that will allow you to lead with innovation, creativity, and moral clarity. I'm going to end with this. In my office, I have a picture hanging on the wall. It's a drawing of a woman, and she's holding the planet Earth in her hands, and it's being handed to her by an angel. The words read, "In my dream, the angel shrugged and said, 'If we fail this time, it will be a failure of imagination.' And then she placed the world gently in the palms of my hands." Graduates, we are placing the world in the palms of your hands. And I know there is no lack of imagination among graduates at this great college. I know there is no lack of talent or ambition or initiative, or you wouldn't have had made it through the last few years. I know you have the ingenuity and the empathy it takes to forge a better world. You are truly the next generation of Minnesota's and America leaders. And with you at the helm, I truly believe this can be a moment where as we emerge from this last few years, not in our 300 million plus silos in our basements where we've all been separated, but that we look up and look at each other again and realize that we are a nation committed to the ideal that what unites us is so much bigger than what divides us. Today, we celebrate you. We honor what you've already accomplished, and yes, we place the world in the palms of your hands. You can do it. Congratulations, class of 2022.
Thank you so much, Senator Klobuchar, for those very inspiring and moving comments. It was a great honor to have you with us today. Class of 2022, we are here today to celebrate your accomplishments together as a community of families, friends, faculty, and staff on this campus filled with your memories and your accomplishments. I want to thank the faculty and staff who helped you, mentored you, steered you in the right direction, and opened up a new world for you. I'd like to thank all of the parents, grandparents, partners, spouses, children, friends, dogs, cats, and baristas who were there to support, sustain, love, and caffeinate you throughout your years as undergraduates. Thank you all for being here. You should be very proud of your graduate, as we are. I know they couldn't have done it without you. Graduates, please join me in giving all of them a round of appreciative applause. Class of 2022, as Senator Klobuchar indicated, you have faced unique and powerful tests. And it may seem as if the tests you passed in the classroom and on laptops here at the U over the past few years pale in comparison to the global public health and political challenges that have been around us. But I'm here to tell you they don't. The tests you've passed right here on campus, virtually or in person, have enduring value and impact. In the end, we all do our part to make our community, our nation, and our world better places. We make a difference as best we can. By passing the biggest test of commitment to advancing your life and the life of your families by obtaining your degree, you can take the knowledge and skills you've developed in CLA to make a difference in your own corner of the world. You are emerging visionaries, innovators, exquisite artists, articulate communicators, soon to be brilliant entrepreneurs, teachers, lawyers, doctors, business leaders, poets, soldiers, logistics, and so much more. You are emerging leaders with formidable skills because of the training and education you received here and because of those tests that you passed. A genuine leader brings the range of creative, analytical, and communication skills we cherish in the liberal arts into their communities and into their workplaces. You bring that to the table. A compassionate leader leads with a heart, with empathy, that looks at the world through others' eyes. You bring that to the table as well. We hope that we have prepared you, and more importantly, that you've prepared yourself to make a difference in whatever way you choose to do so. So yes, members of the class of 2022, you've passed all the tests that you needed to pass with flying colors. Be well and be effective in the tests that you face still. I want to thank you for your resilience. I want to thank you for what I'm certain you'll deliver to our communities from the local to the global in the days and years to come. Congratulations, you did it. Nothing gives me more pleasure than to recognize the outstanding achievements of CLA's talented students. And so it is a special treat to introduce our student speaker, Angelina Dimitrov. Angelina is a first-generation American and first-generation college student who was born and raised in the Twin Cities metro. Since coming to the University of Minnesota, her time here has been embodied by her passions for academic scholarship in the areas of child and human development, as well as student leadership. Angelina has been an active member of the CLA Student Board since her freshman year, and I had the great privilege and pleasure to work with Angelina over the years. She has also served as the vice president of the board during the 2020-2021 academic year. She has also served as a student ambassador for the College of Liberal Arts, as a 5-semester-long housing and residential life community advisor, and as an undergraduate research assistant examining early language assessment and intervention for young dual language learners. Angelina graduates today with a Bachelor of Arts in Speech Language Hearing Sciences with minors in developmental psychology and teaching English as a second language, as well as a certificate in teaching English as a second language. In the fall, Angelina will be moving to Madrid, Spain to teach primary school students English for the 2022-23 academic year. After her gap year, Angelina hopes to return to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities to earn her master's in speech-language pathology. Angelina embodies CLA's commitments to excellence and service, and it is a great pleasure to have her as our student speaker today. Please join me in welcoming Angelina Dimitrov.
Thank you, Dean Coleman, for the warm welcome, and a very good afternoon to faculty, staff, friends, family, and most importantly, to my fellow graduates, the class of 2022. It is a true honor to be addressing the College of Liberal Arts' first in-person graduation ceremony in over 2 years, and I'm so thankful to be able to share this moment with all of you in celebration of our graduation from the University of Minnesota. On behalf of the graduating class, I want to thank the people who have helped us reach this milestone. To our professors, student teachers, and faculty who challenged us to think critically and empowered us through our learning. To our advisors and mentors who encouraged us to become compassionate leaders and change makers. And to our friends and family who believed in us sometimes more than we believed in ourselves. We thank you all for the unsurmountable guidance and support that has helped each and every one of us make it to this point. Please join me in a round of applause for these amazing people. As to my fellow graduates, congratulations on surviving an undergraduate career just shy of becoming the sci-fi thriller of the century. In the past 4 years together, we've witnessed the perils of global-scale political upheaval, lived through social justice movements seated in our own backyard, and are still navigating through a worldwide public health crisis. That is, all while trying to get a degree. These moments have undoubtedly impacted our lives both inside and outside of the classroom, and they will continue to do so. But with that, I encourage you all to recognize the magnitude of the accomplishment that we are celebrating tonight. Obtaining a bachelor's degree is no easy task. Still, we all somehow managed to finish the journey despite being in a perpetual state of survival mode for a majority of it. So needless to say, I'm incredibly proud of our collective resilience. I believe the skills we have developed during these tumultuous times, like our willingness to form our own ideas and opinions and voice them with confidence, our dedication towards creating diverse and empowering spaces in our community, and our commitment to moral and ethical problem solving, for example, are ones that truly define our time here in CLA. But I must admit that as we're finally taking a deep breath after 4 years of college, I'm also incredibly exhausted. And I know I'm not alone when I say that. We've all been in a constant cycle of juggling school, work, extracurriculars, social circles, and our personal lives. And this year, our responsibilities have been topped off with the senior year special, figuring out how to answer the infamous question, so what are your plans after graduation? I often regard that question with mockery, but over the past few months, I've had to admit to myself that said quest of self-discovery has become more and more realistic as the days go by. For the past 15 plus years, much of our identities have been built around being students. The structure of our lives thus far has been unquestionably linear. We've known this system since we were children. We entered elementary school to learn the basics, then middle school to prepare us for high school. Freshman year led to sophomore, junior, and senior year, and if I'm assuming correctly, we all decided to go to college and had 4 more guaranteed years of a linear path ahead of us. So all things considered, we've always known what the next step was, until now. After we receive our diplomas today, the staircase we've been climbing for almost our entire lives will end, and we'll have no choice but to open up the door ahead of us and step into the unknown. Though I've always known that college wouldn't last forever, even when I first came to the U as a wee, bright-eyed freshman 4 years ago, I still can't help but feel uneasy about what comes next. In a phase of life as transitional as this one, feeling rushed to make life decisions is common. Pressure disguises itself in many forms. What will it mean if I don't feel happy at my first job? What if I realize I want to change career paths? What if my 5-year plan doesn't pan out? Without having a predetermined path anymore, it's only human nature to want that control. But if you allow it, this period, this change can also be a beautiful thing. I believe my leadership professor, Yvonne Belota-Burke, said it best with her department's infamous quote, "There is no growth in the comfort zone and no comfort in the growth zone." With her words in mind, I'd like to think that in these periods of uncertainty, where change is truly the only constant, some of our most significant moments of self-discovery can occur. So whether you know or feel excited about what lies ahead, may it be graduate school, your first post-grad job, a gap year, or if your path is currently clear as mud, the bottom line is we get to decide endlessly. Our journeys of evaluating and refinding our identities will be lifelong and ever-changing, and that is one that we can count for certain. So as we leave Mariucci today as CLA alumni, I ask that you do not be afraid to question everything, even if that means questioning who you are as a person and where you want your life to go. So here's to us and everything we've yet to become. Hail to thee, and congrats to the class of 2022. Row the boat, Sky Yuma, and go Gophers.
Thank you very much, Angelina. At Commencement, we celebrate the achievements and the promise of students who will be tomorrow's leaders, entrepreneurs, creative artists, and public servants. And we invite as keynote speakers people who model the highest ideals of leadership, creativity, and excellence. It's my great honor and pleasure to introduce such a person as today's keynote speaker, Kareem Rahma. Kareem Rahma is a digital media entrepreneur and 3-time Webby-nominated comedian living in New York City. He is currently the Chief Creative Officer and co-founder of Some Friends, a premium audio-first entertainment company telling stories by and about people of color for everyone with the mission of championing inclusion through diversity. Additionally, he serves as senior advisor to twice Oscar-nominated documentary studio XTR. Previously, he was the founder and CEO of Nameless Network, an entertainment company that creates and distributes smart video content for the smartphone generation, and the Museum of Pizza, the world's first immersive art experience celebrating pizza. It's a real thing. Prior to pursuing an entrepreneurial path, Kareem was Director of Audience Development and Growth Strategy at the New York Times, and before that, the Associate Director of Global Marketing advice. Kareem is also a published poet. His debut book, We Were Promised Flying Cars, was published by the Brooklyn-based museum Pioneer Works and continues to be a top seller. As a comedian, his videos have been watched millions of times by people around the world. His narrative film debut as a writer, producer, and actor will be marked at this year's 2022 Tribeca Film Festival, where his film, Out of Order, will have its world premiere. Kareem graduated from CLA in 2008 with a degree in journalism, and he is a 2019 recipient of the Hubbard School of Journalism and Mass Communications Above the Fold Award. Please join me in welcoming Kareem Rahma.
Hello, hello, hello. I asked Dean Coleman for one of the cool outfits, but they just gave me this regular one. Greetings, thank you, and congratulations to the 2022 University of Minnesota CLA graduates. Thank you, Dean Coleman and the Commencement Committee for the incredible invitation. It is an unbelievable honor and privilege to be here with you today. Pardon if I sound groggy. I pulled an all-nighter last night and fell into a deep, dark Wikipedia hole. You, my friends, should all be so proud of yourselves. Every single one of you has done the unimaginable. You just graduated college during the most difficult, unprecedented time in recent history. So, before we even begin, I'd like to take a moment to celebrate you. Please stand up and join me in giving yourselves the biggest round of applause. And parents and families, stand up. No, stand up. I want the parents and the families to stand up. Oh, you in the back, you're not getting away with it. Come on, just pretend I'm a famous guy. That's the applause they deserve. Thank you for humoring me. Non-traditional times call for non-traditional measures. And boy, oh boy, are these non-traditional times. I mean, look at who they picked to give the commencement speech. A comedian with barely 50,000 Instagram followers. I heard they were going to get Bob Dylan, but he couldn't make it due to supply chain issues. When I received the email from the university asking me to give this speech, my first thought was, wow, that's a pretty good fishing attempt. They almost got me. I nearly gave Dean Coleman my social security number. Come to think of it, I did give Dean. Can I have that thing back? My second thought was, really, out of the thousands of people who've walked through these doors over the past 150 years, you picked me. It turns out they finally ran out of Nobel Prize winners. Like I said, I went deep into a Wikipedia hole last night, and I found a few obscure alumni like myself that they could reach out to next year. A fellow by the name of Nick Clegg, who also happens to be the former Deputy Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Sounds boring. Erman Ilyak, who is literally the wealthiest person in Turkey, he has a net worth of over $3.9 billion. But we don't really like billionaires, do we? And the guy who invented Apple, not Steve Jobs, but a great man by the name of David Bedford who invented the Honeycrisp apple right here on this campus in 1961. The greatest apple of all time was invented at the University of Minnesota. Did you know that thanks to a genetic variation, Honeycrisp apple cells are twice as large as the cells of most other apples, resulting in its signature addictive crunch? A round of applause for apples. Seriously though, this is one of those honors that is so far-fetched that even to an absolutely delusional person like myself, it still feels like an elaborate practical joke. Believe me, when I was a sophomore, living on 13th and Como, eating bowls, I got fans, eating bowls of ground beef smothered in barbecue sauce for lunch, I would have never imagined I'd be standing here in front of you attempting to inspire the next generation of U of M graduates. In the university's letter inviting me to speak, they told me why they thought a comedian with a background in entrepreneurship and media would be a good choice. The experiences of recent years call for a commencement speaker who can speak to our graduates' varied experiences, academic fields, and goals, as well as a speaker who can provide perspective on the historic moment we are living through. I don't know why a university sounds like this, but trust me, it does. I selfishly accepted the invitation, not because I'm the right guy for the job, but because I knew that this would be the largest stand-up performance I would ever have in my entire life. Thank you for making my dreams come true. In all seriousness, in today's world, you get to define yourself however you'd like. You can be an entrepreneur, a poet, a comedian, a writer, an actor, a computer programmer, a journalist, an activist, a politician, God forbid, even a DJ, all at once. And whether you decide to pursue the more traditional corporate path or take the entrepreneurial route, you are allowed to break the rules. You are allowed to make new ones and shape a new world in your image. Not only are you allowed to do it, but you are encouraged to do it, because you are the ones who will leave this place better than how you found it. You can tell your employer that you prefer to work from home, or that healthcare is not a perk, but a requirement. You can demand that the company you work for align its core values with yours and not the other way around. You have the power and the responsibility to make sure that the snacks in the office are good. When I arrived at this campus in 2004, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And when I graduated 4 years later, I still didn't. But I had done the impossible. I had gotten kicked out of a fraternity. For throwing a TV out the window on a Tuesday afternoon for absolutely no reason. We will discuss this another time. When I started my journalism degree my junior year, very late, I had no idea I'd go on to work at the Minnesota Daily. And when I worked at the Daily, I had no idea that I would go on to work at Vice. And when I worked at Vice, I had no idea that I would go on to work at the New York Times. And when I quit the New York Times to start my own company, I had no idea that 8 years later, I would become unemployable. When I started journaling every morning, I had no idea that I would go on to become a poet. And when I became a poet, I had no idea I would go on to perform it in front of a live audience. And when I performed it in front of a live audience, I had no idea that I would get addicted to the laughter and decide to pursue a career as an entertainer. I am not bragging to impress you. I am bragging to impress your parents, because mine are not here today. These accomplishments were not my goals. They were simply opportunities that presented themselves and opportunities that I said yes to. I encourage you to say yes more. You may be surprised where you end up. Now, I've summed up the last 15 years of my life into 2 paragraphs. This is the Instagram version of my story. If it sounds like I've got it all figured out, I definitely don't. I'm still mentally in the same place that many of you are today, uncertain, a bit scared, and very confused. The bad news is those feelings don't go away. The good news is you'll get used to it. The moral of the story is that no one knows what the hell is going on. My first job out of college, I had a really amazing boss. His name was Jared Roy, and he was probably the same age then that I am now, which is very cool, except for that it means I'm old. His advice to me was simple. Fake it till you make it. And I did. Now, a disclaimer. I want to emphasize that fake it till you make it does not mean go out and start a pyramid scheme, okay? It means act as if. It means act as if you believe in yourselves. I moved to New York City 10 years ago on a whim. It was between New York City and Los Angeles. But I picked New York City because it had one thing that Los Angeles didn't. A friend named Blake, who had just moved there 1 week earlier, who had a twin-sized mattress covered in dust on the floor of a basement apartment in the East Village. And when I landed in New York City, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, the first thing I did was lose my phone in the cab. The second thing I did was stand outside of my apartment in the pouring rain, crying because I was locked out of my apartment. Boy, were we off to a great start. But I didn't let those hurdles get me down. For the next month, I applied to 1 million jobs I was underqualified for until I ended up getting one at a very fast-growing media company called Vice. The pay wasn't great. I made $36,000 a year, and I was living in New York City, which meant that my diet consisted of $1 slices of pizza dipped in ranch dressing. My boss at the time asked me if I knew how to do media buying, so I figured I'd be honest with him and lied. 4 months later, I got a promotion. Jared was right. I then went on to get a job at the New York Times, and I felt like the part of a team striving to bring a 100-year-old institution into the digital age. After that, I decided to become an entrepreneur because I wanted to be rich like Mark Zuckerberg or that guy who started 5 Hour Energy. He's a billionaire. Seriously. I had no idea where to start. I didn't go to Carlson School of Management. I failed algebra 3 times right here at this very college. And per usual, I had no idea what I was doing. So I went back to school and I got my MBA. Just kidding, I listened to a podcast. Eventually, I started the world's first museum of pizza, which is exactly what it sounds like, which makes it the absolute dumbest idea in the world. Maybe you should get that MBA after all. I'd like to read a poem from the prolific poet known by the name of John Bon Jovi. It goes like this. It's my life. It's now or never. But I ain't gonna live forever. I just want to live while I'm alive. It's my life. My heart is like an open highway. Like Frankie said, I did it my way. I just want to live while I'm alive. It's my life. Okay, oh, sorry, hold on. What's next? Okay. In my notes, it says, attempt the first ever commencement karaoke speech and get the parents of the students to sing It's My Life by John Bon Jovi because it's the last time that the parents can embarrass the students. And then maybe all of the parents and students will sing it together and we will make history. Do you guys want to do that? Dean Coleman, can we do that? All right, he said we can do it. So I'm going to cue up the music and we're all going to sing it. You know the lyrics? If you don't, they're up there on the screen, all right? This is the first time in history that it's ever happened. Let's go. On 3. Parents first. We need the encouragement. It's my life, it's now or never. But I ain't gonna live forever. I just wanna live while I'm alive. My heart is like an open. Acapella now. I did it my way. I just wanna live while I'm alive. Woo! We made history today, people. We made freaking history. I don't even like that song, but the lyrics are actually pretty good. So just remember, today is the day. Of course you're about to leave college and enter the world. And honestly, it's scary. And even more honestly, it might suck sometimes. But get your failures out of the way while you're young. Keep failing. Today is the day to fail. But you know what? It's also the day to succeed. The best time to start following your crazy dreams was yesterday, and the second best time is now. That reminds me, there are two big secrets to success. The first secret is that there are no secrets. The second secret is that anyone who is trying to sell you a secret is a liar. But I do want to share a few pieces of my own personal philosophy that I think are helpful, and you can have them for free. Unless you'd like to Venmo me later, my name is @Kareem Rahma on there. Just kidding, don't do that. Okay, this is actually the serious part of the speech, so open your little brains up and absorb the knowledge. Number one, no one knows what they're doing. Your boss doesn't know, your friends don't know, the people you look up to don't know. Everyone's just guessing all of the time. So just follow the age-old advice and pretend everyone in the room is in their underwear. Number two, do what's right now. Don't do what you think will be good for the future you or the past you. Do what's good for the you are today. I used to feel guilty about not finishing books that were boring to me. Now I realize that if something isn't working, it's not always worth it to muscle through. Of course, sometimes it is, but don't be afraid to walk away. Sometimes that's the right thing to do. The same goes for life. You can always flip back to that chapter if you miss it. Which leads me to my next point, which is number 3. Do not be overly committed. This is the opposite of what most people will tell you, but the wrong kind of commitment, aka obligation, will destroy you. Do nothing out of obligation. Do things because you want to do them. Let's say I pick up that book from earlier and now I don't like it at all. You know what I do? I put it down and I never pick it up again. This will run counter to much of the advice you'll receive, but people who are overly committed end up working jobs they hate for 20 years. Number 4, prioritize fun. You told yourself you'd read a chapter in that book today. You love reading. Look, I love reading too, seriously, it is fun. But now it's an unbelievably beautiful day and your friends want to have a picnic and go to the park and enjoy life together. You know what? Join them. Leave the book at home. It'll be back when you get there and you can enjoy it on a rainy day. Number 5, self-generation is key. Don't wait around for anybody to make your dreams come true. Don't wait for someone to hand you an idea on a silver platter. You have to keep walking. Eventually, you'll run into people who will help you along the way. Take their help, keep in touch, but keep it moving. You have to generate your own path. Number 6, and this is very important because I'm feeling this right now and I feel it every day. You are not an imposter. Imposter syndrome is that little voice in your head telling you that you're a fraud. It's telling you to doubt yourself. It's telling you that you don't deserve to be here. Tell that voice to shut up. You do deserve to be here. All of you are worthy of your success, and you should be proud of what you've already accomplished and what you will accomplish in the future. Number 7, please put a case on your iPhone. Number 8, clean your house before you go on vacation. Number 9, always wear sunscreen. Number 10, do not buy things you cannot afford. Like I said, there are no secrets, but kindness, sincerity, optimism will allow you to take this journey with a smile on your face, which, believe me, will make a world of difference for yourself and those around you. Be empathetic, be open-minded, be hopeful. You have great instincts, big hearts, and a desire to dismantle systems that no longer work in your favor. You are so intelligent, so resilient, so creative, so good at making viral videos. You know exactly what you're doing, and the world will be a better place because of you. This speech is dedicated to my father, who never got to see me graduate because he died of cancer my junior year of college. He was an immigrant who moved here from Cairo, Egypt to Minnesota, don't know why, with nothing but $14 and the dream of eating an American cheeseburger. His words of advice are always in the back of my head. Just keep going. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kareem. We have now reached the moment you've been waiting for, the presentation of degrees. Members of the class of 2022, you will cross the stage one by one as your name is announced. After you have all returned to your seats, please remain seated until the end of the program. Your commencement will not be complete until Regent Rocha has conferred your degree. And now, on to the business at hand.
Angelina Isabella Dimitrov. Mason Andrew Young. Sunny Rose Ibe. Wendy Ann Albee. Rihanna Yeshi Bathia. Distinction. Yimeng Yang. Jolie Yang. Samantha Ruiz Zavala.
Benicia Grace.
Amelia Young. Maureen Elizabeth Leplatinier. Distinction. Allison Collins. Emma Estrella. High distinction.
Young Un Kwan.
Cassandra Nicole Davis. Summa cum laude. High distinction. Marley Faye Loudon. Blaine Joseph. Mahnur Esen Gumen, Sidra Fatima Islam, Andrea Abrams, Jordan Clare, summa cum laude, Renad Saeed Al-Sarhani, Alexa Marie Amundsen, Jamie Wong, Vivian Pham, Ryan Michael Nguyen, Elizabeth Sung-hee Han,
Sage Parks,
Na Amelia Catcher, Yvette Gonzalez, magna cum laude, distinction, Kaylee Bryn O'Shaughnessy, Amina Qureshi, distinction, Sophia Bassett, Lizette Hazel Horn, high distinction, Sahar Khanpur, distinction, Keaton Hennessy Garrity, Catherine Anderson Doherty, summa cum laude, high distinction, Megan O'Brien, magna cum laude, distinction, Catherine Suzanne Salai, distinction, Savannah Nicole Vasek, distinction,
Carla Yunga,
Salam Kidane Habtas, Prueda Noor, Zara Gall, Katie Wilson, high distinction, Megan Ann Weisenberger, distinction, Ru Fei Feng, high distinction, Holly Margaret Lesmeister, distinction, Lucille Jo McBride, distinction, Sarah Ann Heinrich, distinction, Mercedes Marie Sherwood, Jenna Michelle Austin, distinction, Amalia Janet Owen, Melanie Gomez Mejia, Cassandra Don Jocelyn, high distinction, Gabriella Louisa Buboltz, distinction, Sienna Nicole Holthouse, Megan Schaefer, high distinction, Kaya Celeste Goodman, Elena Fox, Lachey Monique Denny, Olena Gavrilova, Adele Yijing Lo, high distinction, Madison Julia Sobiak, Grace Helena Gilkey, high distinction, Nicholas K. Barrickmo, James J. Rossman, Avery Rustad, Sterling Homard, distinction, Jade Francis Vick, Brennan Stephen Scott, high distinction, Abigail Young, distinction, James B. Elliott, Miranda Murgison, Tessa Lynch, Phony Marcelino, Alicia Nora Deach, Nicole Marie Morrissey, Alexis S. Keeker, Benjamin B. Ryder, Andrew James Nystrom, Isaac Lotz, Benjamin David Nicholson, distinction. Jacob Raymond Hubrex, Cole Anthony Harness, Shepard Westwood Rogers, Mia Catherine Johnson, high distinction. Cecily Margaret Perry, summa cum laude, high distinction. Annie Lind Barrand, Gabriel Louis Genova, M. Justin Niska, Keith David Nordick, distinction. Maxwell Kenneth Paul Johnson, Jack Alexander Barber,
Ryan Pearson,
Cooper Chester Anderson,
Savannah Lee Norcross,
Abigail Jane Boreen, Alexis Sky Lang Kelly, Kendall Noland, distinction. Stellar Thu Quach, Roman Bick, Jordan Obi, high distinction. Abigail W. Ruuro, Kaylee Hoofer,
Addison Severson,
Nafisa Hassan, distinction. Nardos Hailu Ainalam, Katherine Johnson, Nicole Elizabeth Binder, Joshua Kwong Lee, distinction. Ava Marie Stendy, Sherry Joa Lee, Whitney Jean Folds, high distinction. Abby Nicole G, distinction. Adrian Ann O'Shea, summa cum laude, high distinction. Antonia Beverly Blanchette, Grace Marie Mayer, Colleen Aaron Donies, Jasmine Sanchez, distinction. Riley Jean Hill, Natalie Ray Lynn Wagner, Caitlin Renee Edmonston, Hope A. Tilges, high distinction. Atenuke Yetunde Oduloye, Hain Lee, Madeline Jean Ebert, Elizabeth Esther Brubachen, Chase Workhoven, Ryan Patrick Sexton, Shayla Wynn, Alyssa Christine Nelson, Ogechi Precious Anyawu, Chulwe Ron Hamankuli, Zanea Amani Wilson, Samantha Osei, Nardos Cisse Ijigu, Elena Dawn Gatke, high distinction. Kellen Grace McCourtney. Annika Ray Bennett. Rachel Ann Faust, distinction. Kaylin Anderson. Dola Kosmikis, distinction. Shauna Rose McGlynn, high distinction. Peter Chen. Mitchell Jones. Haley Rose Lundeen, summa cum laude, distinction. Gabrielle Renee Klinkenborg, distinction. Keegan Lowell Robinson, summa cum laude, high distinction. Samantha Mary Stelmach. Gabriella Louvet Foss. Anna Elizabeth Gannon, high distinction. Molly Harriet Shephoister, distinction. Tyler Barron. Rebecca Weiss.
Alex Tuthill Preuss.
Cooper Thomas Garrids, distinction. Charlemagne Breslin, summa cum laude, high distinction.
James David Arnold.
Rachel Lynn Dworshak, high distinction. Elena Nicole Cedarholm. Bradley Stephen Peterson. Zachary Powell. Megan O'Driscoll. Mara Catherine Weston, distinction. Annie Chen, distinction. Misato Ogawa Markham. Sophia Victoria Masika. Ella Sarah McMeans. Ava Sarah Kloffenstein, distinction. Catherine Ann Clark, summa cum laude, high distinction. Annika Burl Fisher, high distinction. Joseph Charles Adamley. Andre Jeffrey Molinas.
Maya Rose Kern.
Elena Alwyn. Deanna Mia Brockett. Eliza Mary Swanson. Holly Merle Gilvery. Mackenzie Caitlin Griffin. Sarah Abdikadir Mohammed. Madeline Judith Cano. Lucas Ford Levin, distinction. Cole Joseph Seeger, distinction. Cora Casper, distinction. Vivian Grace Campshire. Bryn Berg.
Angie Zhang.
Tess Marie Haima. Emily A. Sinton. Matthew Notaboom, summa cum laude, distinction. Solveig Erickson. Grace Gothard. Cameron Jade Gustine. Selena Suvanasan. Axel Laco Santo Domingo. Anthony Nan. Daniel James Holmes. Sophia Lucille Bunker.
Benjamin Gardner. Yu-Chi Zhang. I can just keep it. Jintong K.
Yu Mei Sun, high distinction. Ying Jie Guo, distinction. Jing Yi Chen. Raymond Anthony Campos. Tyler Matthew Phi. Kok Chung Ing, distinction. Allison Darlene Winslow. Sophia Claire Daniel, high distinction.
Naya Marie Olson.
Ashley Jean Thurnbeck. Mars Bryant Helmuth, distinction. Callie Gear. Anna Marie Sherman. Alexa Louise Amundson. Margaret Grace Cox. Bennett Allen Bonney. Reggie Joel Arpin. Bryce August Helmbrecht Lummel. Owen Michael Drabeck. Emma Grace Caswell. Emma Margaret Sickman. Samantha Ray Haugen. Cammie Marie Kendall, distinction. Caitlin Hackbarth. Vincent Teofilo. Joseph Smerling Levy. Michael Francis Line, distinction. Ellie Chemland. Kuverwa. Zoe Claire Champeau. Miles Calvert Mickens. Gretchen Irene Stolley, high distinction. Francine Suzanne Perry. Gayla Denitza Betanzos. Noah Matthew Stockert. Adrian Vincent Leaners, distinction. Bjorn Faust Rosten. Jack Nodler. Anya Maria Zubar, distinction. Marie Reif, high distinction. Abigail Toma. Andrea Rhea O'Brien. Caitlin Dobbins, magna cum laude. Amanda Hagan, distinction. Melanie Noel Worth, distinction. Hannah Werman, high distinction. Mary Catherine Karnosky, distinction. Kylie Nicole J. Claire Morgan Swain, summa cum laude, high distinction. Samantha Meyer. Tyler R. Wood. Shamar Kilgore. Hadley Grace Hansen. Haley Ann Wheeler. Josephine Lacombe. Darby Eileen Davis. Grace Sulseedler, distinction. Madeline Marie Stellick, distinction. Abinom Hebzinski Bunt.
Nadia Mohib.
Inga Mully, high distinction. Sarah Catherine Pexa, distinction. Morgan Lynn Lovey, high distinction. Olivia Young. Kennedy Ray Cummins. Rogers Akembum Jr. Ryan Joseph Smet. Audrey Renee Kirschling, distinction. Madison Kristen Beck. Rachel Marie Dickerson. Shauna Wynn. Andrew Charles Birschbach, high distinction. Alyssa Brinza. Kendall Marie Phillips. Alexandra Ray Jacqueline. Michael Patrick Kiesling, distinction. Zachary William Fisher. Jada Bryn Wald. Sophia Husnick. Kendra Ann Connors. Lauren Hartley, distinction. Elena Grace Double. Abby Lynn Pope. Brian Mua. Nick John Jerpy. Beth Ann Rebecca Conover. Noah Beth Appleseas. Jessica Brooke Gordon. Madison Lynn Fullen. Rachel Elizabeth Spahelski, distinction. Emma Catherine Staskowitz, distinction. Alexandra Grace Jornt. Lauren Mysick. Chirag Rakesh Jain. Shreya Sai Kakumanu. Zil Piyush Patel. Erin Marie Sternke. Olivia Adele Gore, distinction. Grant William Maxfield. Autumn Lee Nelson. Claire Margaret Flirsch. Claire Helmkin, distinction. Maggie Reese. Jillian McNett, summa cum laude, high distinction. Sutton Edward Strander. Walter Grothy. Bo Lewis Halfmeyer. Grace Palmatessa. Ethan J. Voss, summa cum laude, high distinction. Francesca Abigail Vacco. Alexandra McDonald Dixon. Fallon Marie Becker, distinction. Haley Ann Ricker. Ava Ewald. Evan Thomas Rowe. Catherine Diane Walsh. Emma Rose Derula, distinction. Kimberly Hernandez. Abisai de la Cruz.
Sarah Jailani.
Aisha Abdihamid Abdil. Sarah Hassan Mohammed, distinction. Ilhan Mohammed Abdullahi. Mitchell Robert Levesque. Daniel Vega, high distinction. Benjamin Greiber, summa cum laude, high distinction. Catherine Grace Rouche. Natalie Joaili Vu. Stephanie Jane Amundsen, distinction. Kaylee Michelle Roche. Cha Myung Lee. Zia Kong Lee. Shelby Data Opasunju. Devin Melton. Hiba Zara Hassan.
Osiris Washington.
Maxwell Jerome McHugh. Aria Kelly. Larissa Leonardson. Keelan Elizabeth Pawson, summa cum laude, distinction. Husni Hussain. Autumn Mori, distinction. Naomi Brendan. Therese Margaret Mellum. Thorson Kramer Borneman. Sean Gregory Quinn, distinction. Sakina Simmons. Sophia Ann Larson. Sydney Elizabeth Smith, high distinction. Barbara Shatarian, distinction. Callie Ann Susan Jones, distinction. Ren Nicole Lee Frederick, summa cum laude. Linda Marie Morvant. Cruz Denali Jansen Karstedt. Destiny N. Bilges. Danielle Christine Barber. Caitlin Diane Stockley, summa cum laude, high distinction. Nicole Ann Cerniglia. Abby Lynn Rosenwasser. Kate Louise Atkinson. Haley Saluski. Celeste Marie Guzzi, summa cum laude, high distinction. Armand Sarda, distinction. Sammy Sherian. Hannah Wickert, distinction. Cole James Wetterstrom, distinction. William Skolaski Heath. Grace Cho-hee Hagland, distinction. Jeffrey Su-kun Liu, summa cum laude, high distinction.
Noreera Putri Binti Ibrahim.
Jenna Moayed Al-Salim. Jordan Sophie Hartmark. Sophia Hussein Haley. Mona Yusuf Abdi. Catherine Liesel Totsky, distinction. Karina Isabella Dunford. Gabrielle Rain Allen. Sabina Oma Jagdeo, Haley Lynn Reinhart, Amina Shahade, Lillian Lee, Joelle Stubbs, Alexis Jean Sully Tiffany, distinction. Sarah Elizabeth Eckerstorfer, Indigo Nelson Ruddock, Catherine DeWitt, summa cum laude, high distinction. Nathan Ross, Mira James Altabel Resendez, Jordan Marie Tutenhagen, Samantha Olivia Strubing, Catherine Ann Kelsenberg, Priscilla Hagerman, Tara Kathleen Branken, Ellen Ross Henderson, Zihan Lee, Yushin Lee, Zichi Zhou, distinction. Alexandra Matea Hensrud, Michelle Suzanne Crandall, distinction. Miles Murphy Campbell, Elea Esme Permaliatis, Alexa Grace, distinction. Olivia Louise Morales, high distinction. Ji-Ho Sohn, Erica Differt, distinction. Summer Stroshine, Grace Elizabeth Tordoff, Kenya Becerra Balbuena, Victoria Barnes, Eliza Marie Lombardi, Naomi Inohos, Grace Elizabeth Hillius, distinction. Mackenzie Lockhart, Anna Van Way, distinction. Shannon K. Hofer Padala, summa cum laude, high distinction. Catherine Marie Smith, Caitlin V, Luena Kong, Sion Bay, high distinction. Regina Caitlin Markert, distinction. Makeba Raquel Nelson, Caitlin Spire, Jesse Duringer Wolk, high distinction. Zachary Ian Amborn, Oluwatosin Victory Fasimo, Alyssa Marie Wendland, high distinction. Abigail Lee Doyle, Jin Sol Lee, Cyan Lee, distinction. Lily Knopf, distinction. April Rose Grabner, Magna Francesca Ressler, Jasmine Raquel Moore, Carly Ann Quast, Leah James Lassen, distinction. Evelyn Grace Barchak, Rachel K. Haskamp, distinction. Athena Narmthip Supapan, high distinction. Sarah Wynn, Alyssa Rose Quinn, Emma Grace Haugstad, Annabelle Jasmine Bowe, Kevin Alton Coons. Amrit Kaur Sandhu, summa cum laude, high distinction. Rosalind Victor, summa cum laude, distinction. Sydney Nicole Vivant. Jacqueline Marie Dahl. Nigel Samuel Rodriguez Katangan, distinction. Kalina Mei Lee Chang. Madeline Flesvig. Evan Berg. Catherine Olivia Momont, distinction. Hunter Lee Wesselman, distinction. Jacqueline Ray Schramm, distinction. Renee Jaco Tului Demayas. Yamiles Veronica Ordonez. Nicholas Barth. Adam Daniel Block. Kalia Ranisha Rush. Ashley Marie Hoheim. Margaret Walker, distinction. Veronica Hendren. Jennifer S. Weidman. Catherine A. Sheehan. Kyle Philip Goodweiler. Keenan E. Kneisel. Rachel Elizabeth Edmond, high distinction. McKenna Riley Walker. Catherine Tiffin, distinction. Kiana Ray Maxwell. Megan Phillips. Angelina Wynn. Olivia Catherine Hecht, distinction. Jaden Ray Turner. Maya Torberg Jokanovich. Adam James Dara, distinction. William Cushman Dowell. Keegan Corey Lorentzen. Chloe Annabelle Ruck, distinction. Kendall McKinley Topoloff. Morgan Ray Martinchek. David Alexandro Bueno. Dominic Even Sasser, distinction. Chloe Jane Holland. Aaron Matthew Propson. Daniel Hofstetter. Elias Lentz, high distinction. Melissa Christine Rowan. Andra Lee Berghoff. Elijah Cole Hartman Seaskin, high distinction. Samuel Thurston Hamersky. Samuel Michael Sasafsky, summa cum laude, high distinction. John Olaf Taylor. Riley Marybeth Rassman, distinction. Megan Rode. Alice Elizabeth Meixner, high distinction. Nicholas Olaf Eide, summa cum laude, high distinction.
Jamie Kotovich, high distinction.
Samantha Grace Burgum. Sarah H. Hoff. Calvin Alexander Pevin, distinction. Sawalak Songsawatwang. Ki Min Nguyen. Yue Han Gan, high distinction. Yi Ning Zhang. Yu Xin Xie, high distinction. Darren Luke Valenza. Griffin Todd Renner. Christopher George Todros, distinction. Ethan James Dorn, distinction. Deidre Renee Belmore. Elena Oxenham, summa cum laude. Lauren Ray Brick, distinction. Catherine Elizabeth Bankovich. Sarah Catherine Mondragon. Maya Amy Johnson. Ha-Yoon Pak. Savannah Rose Tucker. Madison Louise Castee. Colin Ray Martin, distinction. Yubin Chang, distinction. Ahmed Mohammed Abdi. Therese Marie Streeter, distinction. Rosabelle Pakulag Yang. Ching Chen Lee. Yi-Fei Qian. Yu-Ching Mei, distinction. Vincent D. Lee, high distinction. Zamzam Abdi Jama. Anissa Adam Abdi. Sudi A. Bashir. Caden James Tushouse. Elizabeth Kerbotsky. Licia Mata. Emily Jo Gears. Ibrahim Ahmed Abul Yaman.
Iniobong Abigail Eka.
Isabel Sophia Thompson. Asia Kai Newman, distinction. Emily Allison Grace Powell. Samuel Maethia Kieti, distinction. Dylan James Kuzik, high distinction. Julia Christine Schultz, high distinction. Elizabeth Ann Kreitzman. Boyan Meng, high distinction. Marguerite Rose Bodigheimer, distinction. Rachel Lamb, high distinction. Xiao He Cao, distinction. Amanda Vang. Alana Elijah Cisneros. Daly Kathleen Gibbs Young. Annika Nur Aisha Utatalam. Gabriela Milagros Santos. Olivia Ethel Ray Anderson. Gabriela Bonema. Lauren Lee. Chujun Xu. Catherine Hine, magna cum laude, high distinction. Lily Bratz, distinction. Olivia Frances Hackney, distinction. Nicole Andrea Clare. Taylor Nicole Ide. Kristen Elizabeth Burns, distinction. Noah Tunney. Aaron Hoy, distinction. Emily Hayworth. Cheyenne Elizabeth Matson, distinction. Tara Basting. Lucy Streed Brown, summa cum laude, high distinction. Shalamath Jaquez, Alexandra Marie Kehoe, Maya Little, Falestine Hassan,
Fardosa Ahmed.
Aisha Ahmed, Sadia Mohammed, Noura Ahmed,
Marcia Natalie Barzalata.
Shogo Hayashi, Sarah Cass, magna cum laude, distinction. Emma Hatton, distinction. Anne-Marie Teresa Carfanini, high distinction. Yenghua Vang, Durartu Ayantu Abdallah, Suad Meyer Ali, Sarah Marie Scriber, Amara Henneman, Rui Lin, distinction. Melissa Cinnamon Teal, high distinction. Nathan Daniel Prazu, Sydney Victoria K. Cook, Lori Ann Miller, high distinction. Haley Bunkelman, high distinction. Emma Rain Rogers, distinction. Elizabeth Ann Klein, Madeline Drummer, Diana Hernandez Hernandez, Grace Marie Zellner, Samantha Ann Aronson, Isabel Maria Lombardi, Chloe Kathleen Zern, Catherine Leslie Seeger, Kirsten Marie Koskinen, distinction. John Ryan Riggin, Alexander Scott Hopper, Ava Mee Lamb, Jennifer Dip Wynn, Brooke Madden, Sabrina Ford, Olivia Jane Hedelvet, Julia Grace Duda, Chloe Elizabeth Dowd, distinction. Ashley Jallin, distinction. John Allen Lane, Ellen Marie Schmitz, Hannah Morris, Julia Jakubiak, high distinction. Annie Jane Schoenbauer, Micah Von Bank, Pamita Lee, Michelle Tao, Khadija Abdi, Fatima Mohammed Burri, Joseph Frank Goki, Gabrielle Elise Farrell, high distinction. Migwan Kino Rhodes, high distinction. Allison J. Koopman, distinction. Brock Thomas Sorensen, Catalina Babe Wynn, Maimua Venise Wong, Stephen Alberts, Madeline L. Huddleston, Emma Pierce Thomas, distinction, Alyssa Jean Gowan, Brielle Grace Baker, Madison Lee McCartan, Isabella Pontano Orthy, Alexa Grace Somerville, Amelia Rose Salisbury, Claire Lucy Ban, Grace Catherine Masuda, high distinction, Liliana Madison Appleman, Maisie Lynn Olson, Mackenzie Lee Crandall, Benjamin Lewis Bray, distinction, Samuel Mormino, Alex Joseph Condon, Charles Stephen Levine Wolf, Sydney Lynn Schaefer, Teddy Elizabeth Eisenberg, Madison Marie Wrights, Denite Brooke, high distinction, Amanda Golat, magna cum laude, distinction, Marie Elise O'Connor, Madeline Jean Birchinger, Ian Thomas Smith, Gabriella D. Ayana, distinction, Alexander James Neal, Ethan Royce Dirks, Abigail Rothschild, Sarah Solovey, high distinction, Lily Sarah Smith, high distinction, Jonathan Elliott Connor, Avery Rose Diedrich, Sophia Rose DePaulus, summa cum laude, distinction, Hannah R. Paulson, Amy Louise Halbmeyer, distinction, Emma Vick, high distinction, Kara Rose Goodman, Katra Abdullahi, Manawara Osman, Celine Ibrahim Mohammed, Muna Bashir Hussein, Tavian Vincent Spuyten, Paige Autumn Waller, Madeline May Skamra, Christian Van Charles Larson, Daryl Lewis Rendon de la Paz, Rachel Ermiger, distinction, Kadiatu Sissoko, Jenna Lee Haugen, distinction, Gabriella Christine Kiru, distinction, Grace Stelzner, Jack Stelzner, Josie Mae Boyum, Kyle Abato, distinction, Andrew James Barnard, high distinction, Neil DeVries Smith, Connor Joseph Mockney, Isabel Demo, distinction, Jacob Mark Holst, Ethan Olson, Casey McCabe, Emily Catherine Buss, Abigail Alice Lura, distinction. Hannah Kathleen Frett, distinction. Gabriella Mary Wenish. Riley Ann Granger. Carmen Nicole Libish, distinction. Eleanor Erdman. Natalie Hannah Grinchpun. Sydney Lee Peterson, distinction. Sabina Marty, distinction. Sierra Dune Johnson, high distinction. Alvin Oziemo Onkware. Lauren Lacera. Samantha Head. Elise Clara Kennan Dury. Sierra Lacer. Sydney Elizabeth Martinez. Isabel Jade Gilbert Burke, distinction. Jane Anna Wiesner, distinction. Madison Nicole Gaybeck. Hannah Marie Smith. Kayla Maritza Sentes. Madeline Brooke Claflin. Olivia Stewart, magna cum laude. Samuel Joseph Wright. William Forrest McKinstry Smith. Samuel James Studi. Emily Ann Reiner, distinction. Shauna Marie Slipka. Mackenzie Therese Scholl, distinction. Mara Jo Petrie, distinction. Luke Robert Miller, summa cum laude, high distinction. Ashton Cyrus Burke. Ponplia Kachumpu. Madison Kate Dahlgren. Minha G. Jacob Allen Preisler, high distinction. Catherine Zack. Josie Biscard. Alexis Elgin. Danny Malia Follett Dion, summa cum laude, high distinction. Noel E. Lesh, distinction. Tanner Ray Wenzel, summa cum laude, high distinction. Fardis Abdirahman Hassan. Hannah Lee Reichenbach. Lauren Anna Huspenny, high distinction. Madison Nicole DeFranco. Ava Grace Mannion, high distinction. Megha M. Ramanathan, distinction. Lauren Elise Boyk. Andrew James Call, distinction. Corey Deegan Lustig, high distinction. Megan Leslie Langsev. Drew Leah Schwitters, magna cum laude, distinction. Julissa Mae Gilbertson. Anna Ross, distinction. Marley Jewel Richmond, summa cum laude, high distinction. Brooke Elizabeth Sturmer. Sydney Peyton Dracht. Catherine McNabb, distinction. Catherine Kennedy Blaine, distinction. Hallie Nicole Klum. Kylie Corinne Downing. Alexandra Fitzgibbons. Eleanor Elaine Bridges. Lucia Marie Anderson. Lauren Ann McNamara.
Alana Martinson, distinction.
Julia Marie Ober-Heckel. Kendall Marie Hedberg. Alexandra Catherine High. Andrew Michael Perez. Jiwon Pak. Robert Hunter Iacano, high distinction. Jenna Blummel, distinction.
Killian Coffin-Nay.
Bofan New. Patrick James Kennedy. Ella Harper Egan. Jacob Henry Badowski, high distinction. Nicholas Martin Chiavarini. Owen Link Radke. Grace Carol Gertzma. Joshua Harry Berkowitz. Zachary Stephen Sanders, summa cum laude, high distinction. Ryan Alexander Ledman. Haley Schroeder Dale, high distinction. Amber Ann Frederick. Caroline Cassidy, distinction. Waverly McCullum. Grace Hillmeyer, distinction. Jacob Paul Griffith. Anthony Jeffrey Depew. Michael Sunguk Yoon, distinction. Su Chen Deng, distinction. Leslie Denise Rittenauer. Cassidy Wellnitz. Matthew James Teedy. Tara Lynn Gravel, high distinction. Jenna Lee Straw, high distinction. Catherine Ivy Lydia Newman, distinction. Lauren Faith Boyer, distinction. Ellie Ryan Hexam. Bennett Maxwell. Jack Tyler Tuttle. Zachary Michael Elliott. Madeline Claire Auvenshine. Elizabeth Ratzloff. Haley Christina McAlpine. Tracy Nicole Reamer. Heather Nicole Skoglund, distinction. Safa Khatun. Kelly Chelsea Gonzalez. Kaylin Rose Lucas. Jenna Beth Swanson. Olivia Catherine Tomlinson, distinction. Nina Elizabeth Kilgriff, distinction. Carissa Suzanne Tobalski. Carolyn E. McLaughlin, summa cum laude, high distinction. Anya Rosemary Sands. Isabel Izana Vizuri, distinction. Abigail Marie Sturkowitz. Robert Mark Kobza Jr. Madeline Tapper. Isabella Keene Hyder. Marisa Modell. Francesca Bora Gislandi, distinction. Grace Elizabeth Coleman. Amelia Jane Torgerson, distinction. V. Pham. An Nguyen. Margaret Swanson, distinction. Sage Grover, distinction. Bryn Lee Tichkuski. Mason Carly St. Marie. Grace Ann Jones, summa cum laude. Vagisha S. Dharmadasa. Tessa Rossini. Catherine Larkin. Emily Ann Buckenberger, high distinction.
Catherine Yao, summa cum laude, high distinction.
Rose K. Gallagher. Megan Renee Rutten. Samuel J. Crary. Hudson Pfister. Samantha Smalley. Amelia Claire Wolfe, distinction. Maya Ray Latch. Sophia Ingalls, distinction. Julia Kaiser. Macy Law, summa cum laude, high distinction. Isabella DeChico, distinction. Isabel Rose Quast. Stephen Eakes, distinction. Zachary Jonathan Hayes. Eric Christopher Morris. Mark II. Brandon William Baltz, high distinction. Eve Isabella Hansen. Megan Michelle Sullivan. Shelby Catherine Hornberg, high distinction. Johanna Engebretson. Sophia Luwaji, high distinction. Caitlin Rebecca Hawkins, summa cum laude, high distinction. Morgan Catherine Cogley, distinction. Teresa Nicole Russ, distinction. Ella Marie Van Haren, summa cum laude, high distinction. Gretchen Elise Pickering. Sophie Shapiro, distinction. Audrey Nicole Pickering. Amanda Lee Christensen. Gabe Schneider, distinction. Rhoda Faisal Farah. Rachel Marie Tyson. Lucy Coper. Nejma Mohammed Abshir. Sydney Lauren Pushinsky, distinction. Salma Mahad Talil. Sabrina Mohammed Egal, distinction. Yoon-Ji Chen. Jack Joseph Weiler. Marlene Ramirez, distinction. Kristen Wickman. Anna Besser. Anthony Joseph May, high distinction. Grace Gonzalez, distinction. Corinne Rose Bellett, summa cum laude, distinction. Isabel Thompson, summa cum laude, high distinction. Alina Pavlovna Nesvatelov. Adarsh Bansal, high distinction. Ben Engen, distinction. Mariah Rose Banis. Elizabeth Grace Kunst, distinction. Molly Jean Habegger. Elliot Ross Dorner. Elizabeth Grace Kiddu. Maura Claire McGinnity, Maggie Ann Katalinich, Chase Christopher Langley, distinction. Julie T. Wynn, distinction. Garrett Scott Garter, Leanne McConney Herr, Amy Vanessa Lawson, Brianna Marie White, Pin Shu Chen, Jade Lee Alberta, Nora Elizabeth Coughlin, Mia France, Cesar Lopez, Jocelyn Santos Aparicio, Stephen Richard Knight, Ishna Nath, Amanda Grace Wren, Claire Zwiebelhofer, high distinction, Nicole Ann Harford, Michaela Lee Scrignoli, distinction, Emma Elizabeth Minnie Moore, Sydney Ryden North, distinction, Elliot H. Riker, Hallie Rose Rasmussen Lang, Alexandra May Harper, distinction, Anya Normando, distinction, Mernessa Halilovich, cum laude, Victoria Ray Montbriand, distinction, Abigail Rose Brooks, Madeline Pauline Christensen, distinction, Polyfred Finda Toby, Rebecca Blair Casinger, Grace Campbell, Lauren Marie Arnold, Carly Marie Trottier, Taylor Ann Rivera, Anjali Davy, Emily Elizabeth Schultz, Zachary Allen Bodie, Thomas Leonid Kozlovsky, high distinction, Marina Tadic, Catherine Yanish, distinction, Evelyn Teddy Parma, Emma Catherine Denzer, distinction, Perry Yarish, distinction, Alexander Rice Fadden, Pei-Jun Liu, Anna Josephine Short, Katrina Ray Simons, Natalia Poteriakin, high distinction, Reed Edward Lusky, high distinction, Aisha Razak, Nina Rose Afremov, high distinction, Anya Prasad, Ajaray Simone Jackson, Ashley Fay, Anna M. Peterson, Alexis Beverly Knaus, Alyssa Jean Burkhardt, distinction, Seth John Stratmone, Anna Dennison Schlusser, Jacob Lawrence May, Faya Haji Ago, Rowan L. Toomey, Lauren Ashley Thompson, Kalina Kong, Jada Moss, Amrita Ramshankar, distinction. Jalen Chun-hee Young, Bea Mariano, distinction. Ella Pedersen, magna cum laude. Crystal Joan King, Tegan Ann Stelton, Kadra Abdi Karim, Marian Yusuf Mohammed, Asma Moody, Nina Raymont, Emily King Erfer, Emmeline Muzzy, Lauren Brand, high distinction. Kylie Foster, Josephine Ruth Malloy, Sophia N. Paschke, high distinction. Kiana Kia Vang, Esther Y. Yen Chan, summa cum laude, high distinction. Lucy Marie Torgrimson, distinction. Alexander William Wallace, Sophia Kathleen Watkins, high distinction. Francelle D. Colon Acosta, Ava Elizabeth Ram, Hattie Bio, Catherine Delwish, Victoria Rose Tadlock, summa cum laude, distinction. Keenan Ryu O'Neill, Lauren Young-A Lee, Emily Marie Sison, Savannah Wisenhunt, summa cum laude. Samuel X. Herzl, summa cum laude, high distinction. Madison Grace Thornburg, Maria Kelly, Esme Call, Sarah Elizabeth Lee May Tan, distinction. Nibras Khan, Jennifer Anand Mensah, Amal M. Eman, Sheila Maureen Wakefield, distinction. Amanda Branham, Rachel Keisler, high distinction. Annie Zhang, high distinction. Romero Kennedy, Evan Thomas Schaffner, Carly Susan Grossklogs, Amara Harrison, high distinction. Aisha Ahmed, Nicole Rogers, Claire Chia Yang, Abigail Adamski, Justice Brockenrope, high distinction. Zoe Lucienne Long, Peter Michael Grund, summa cum laude, high distinction. Claire Kaylin Malachnik, Brielle Clark, Morgan Dobmeyer, Grant Stephen Ristel, Joseph Raymond, Jacob Eugene Lanning, high distinction. Annie Elizabeth Ostad, Jacob George Vanderwheat, high distinction. Malaysia Armani Tatiana Hammond. Gao Leishin Lee. John D. Tincher. Sarah Jean Torgerson. Grace Delaney Bingham. Neve Micah Wheelicor, high distinction. Alexis Marie Larson, distinction. Lul Jibril Boru. Maria Tria Xiong. Catalina Lacia Lee, distinction. Samantha Rose Coulter. Genevieve Michelle Olson. Haruka Agata Yukioka, distinction. Drew Mabist, distinction. Yun Zhang. Jia-Chi Liu. Nia Yang. Anna T. Duenhager. Braden Patrick Mahoney, high distinction. Emma Bouchard. Christina D. Vang. Jarrett Edward Ballard. Omar Ahmed Abdullahi. Annalise Aaron Watry. Emily Rose Johnson. Caroline Ritter Cohen. Olivia McPherson Michelle, distinction. Emery Rose Hutchison, magna cum laude, high distinction. Lauren Dana Williams. Xiao Liang Qian, distinction. Alyssa Isaacson. Patrick Q. Vang. Diego Romualdo Vasquez. Louise Pei-Yu Zhuang. Junyue Jiang. Camelo Hersey Jama. Salma Farah. Stephen George Minor. August Sherwenka. Yi Tao Wang. Wang Jintian Yu. Emily Bowdy. Samantha Marie Gallagher. Dong Hyun Park. Zainab Dahir Abdullahi. Mohammed Abdurrahman Hiloli. Ayub Abdweli Omar. Annika Anderson Schmidt. Kaylee DeCraker. Kayla Marie Haas. Kelly Andrea Rivard. Lauren Claire Borchardt. Kara Ann Froker. Asaba Chamilo. Tyler Potter Malarick. Delaney Kincaid Neef. Sarah Wilrod. Abby Elizabeth Becker. Andrew William Burton. Amal Casey. Su Young Peng. Cassandra Reese Bleskacek. Wei Chung.
Ridwan Hussein. Rohit Deer. Anisa Mohammed. Zainab Mohammed. Asaya Noor. Senlin Liu. Anisa Ahmed. Zainab Yusuf. Salma Abdi Rahman.
Senlin Luo, distinction. Goldie Gopher.
Dean Coleman, it is my pleasure to present the 2022 College of Liberal Arts degree candidates.
It is now my pleasure to ask Regent Darren Rocha to formally confer your degrees. Regent Rocha, I am honored to present to you the candidates who have completed degree requirements for the College of Liberal Arts.
Thank you, Dean Coleman. It's always fun when your agent schedules you to come on at the 2.5-hour mark of the presentation. It's a great honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me to be here today. It's especially an honor for me as a graduate of the College of Liberal Arts myself. As you go on into the world, I urge you to stay in touch with each other. You're going to go on and do great things. I know for me, some of my great friends have gone on to do good things. In fact, one of my friends is here, a gentleman by the name of Steve Simon, classmate of mine here at the university. And after Steve didn't succeed at his dream of being a club DJ, he went on to become Minnesota Secretary of State. So give Steve a round of applause for not too shabby. Steve is here watching a close family friend, Lucy Torgrimson, receive her degree, and I just want to say to Lucy, yes, he has always been that way. So anyway, on behalf of the Board of Regents, I'm honored to preside at this commencement. To the graduates, I extend congratulations. We're here to celebrate not only your academic accomplishments, but also your potential to make positive difference in all stages of your life. You will be contributing to your communities, the state of Minnesota, the nation, and even the world. And you're going to be in a world that has technology that we could not have imagined when I walked across the stage for the CLA commencement. In fact, we now have technology that while you're sitting at a commencement with 5,000 people, you can get an emergency text from your 7th grade daughter asking if it's okay that she brings home a kitten. She thanks you, I'm sure. But it reminds me, or it makes me think of the fact that there are probably quite a few people in this auditorium that tonight are going to go home and feed 10-year-old cats and dogs that you all brought home when you were in 7th grade. So let's give your families a round of applause for all the support that they have provided. And it's families, friends, it's parents, it's also brothers and sisters. A good friend of mine and golfer himself, Duke Anyanwu, is here watching his sister Ogechi Anyanwu get her degree, which gives me the opportunity to ask Ogechi, has Duke always been like this? Anyway, with that, we will now ask the graduates to please rise. Here we go. Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority of the Regents, I confer upon you the degrees for which you have qualified. Congratulations. Let us all recognize their achievements. You may now move your tassel from the right side to the left side. Congratulations, everybody.
Congratulations, graduates and families and friends. You have many reasons to be proud of the accomplishments you take with you into the communities of Minnesota, our nation, and the world. We will be proud to welcome you back on your next visit to campus as alumni of the College of Liberal Arts at the University of Minnesota. We do have one final thing for you to take care of. Now that you are entering alumni status, you are expected to memorize Hail Minnesota, which you've heard many times over the years, and maybe you kind of worked your way through, but now at alumni events, they'll sing it all the time. So we're gonna sing it right now as we make our way out. Congratulations.
Congratulations, class of 2022. This concludes the CLA commencement ceremony. Graduates, you may exit up the stairs to the concourse level. Congratulations.